Hey guys. Okay, so obviously I'm inside my van today. I actually ran into town to do some, health maintenance, grocery shopping, pick up some supplies, things like that. So, took a little break and I'm sitting in a public park, and I was going to do this outside in the public park, but being a public park, there's a bunch of kids doing what kids do, having a lot of fun, making a lot of noise, and it just made it hard to do. So I had this idea. For those of you who are full time, or not even full time, but you've lived in a home before, especially old home. I've lived places that I swore were haunted. Weird things happen, doors opening when they shouldn't open, things moving, I know it didn't happen. I mean, that I didn't do it. Nothing malevolent, but just like, hey, something was hanging around. So, I kind of wondered, this shine bugs me. So I kind of wondered, do campers get haunted? It would kind of make sense, if this was somebody's happy place that they had very good memories in. And of course, now we're even just speculating if there are ghosts and spirits and all that. But wouldn't it make sense that, if somebody chose to hang around, that they might hang around in their camper? So I'm wondering, do any of you have any camper ghost stories? I'd love to hear them. So I'll start with one. And this isn't technically a camper ghost story. This is when I was still tent camping. And I was at one of my favorite spots back when I used to tent camp for, the weekend or the week or whatever, take time off from my city life. And I was at a campground and they had a big event, and a lot of partying was going on. And I knew it was going to be happening, and I had a space way away from the revelries and still had my campfire. But, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and, I had my own little setup to go to the bathroom. And I kind of see something out one of my windows, and I'm looking, and it's like, is that somebody outside? So, I do my business. I get up and I look out the window again. Definitely, there's somebody hanging out. What makes it even more interesting, intriguing, whatever, is this person's butt naked. I see their backside, and I see their backside. So I just kind of holler out the window, and I just said, and they're pointed away from me, and I said, "Hey, hon, you okay? You lost?" They don't react. And I'm like, and this is not some place where, I had always been safe in this place. I never ever had any bad interactions. Everybody who went there was just really good people. So I didn't feel a sense of danger going out. Now, just to be safe, I just kind of I had a hatchet by my wood pile, and just sort of kind of grabbed it and kept it by my side, just in case. But I didn't have that spidey sense that anything was going on. So I kind of walk around. I go out my tent door, and I kind of come around, and they're like over here, right? So I walk around, and I look around the corner, and I see it looks to be a young man, and he's skinny, not like malnourished skinny, but And I'm like, "Hey, hon, you okay? Are you lost?" And I'm thinking, okay, this guy's drunk, or someone played a prank on him, and he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to turn around because he's naked. And I said, "Listen, I'm going to go get you a towel, okay?" So I go to get him a towel, and I had one just hanging on the side of the tent, so literally like 2 steps. So I go to get the towel, and I turn around. The guy is gone. I didn't hear a thing, and at this point, the whole campground, because they've been partying hard, was silent. I would have heard him. And my dog was with me. My dog would have told me. So I'm like, where did this guy go? You know, like, and I thought, well, if he did go and he's drunk, he's just beyond me, was woods, and he would get in trouble. So I kind of looked, and he was nowhere. And so now, before I had no sense of like creepy, whatever. Now I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. Yep, time to go to bed. So, I go to bed and I'm just like, So, I get back to sleep, and in the morning, my campfire was kind of a place where some of my friends would come. We'd all have coffee at my camp spot in the morning. And so I told a few people, I said, hey, I don't know what was going on last night, but there was this guy, I think he was drunk, he was naked, yada, yada. And they go, oh, haven't you heard the story? I said, no, what story? And they told me a story about this ghost that shows up by this tree that was in my campsite every so often. And he's always naked. And there's stories, I've heard that this was once Native American land, indigenous, which, most of Florida at one point was, traveled and inhabited by tribes. So, almost anywhere in Florida you go was once indigenous land. So that could be. And then, heard another story that this young man had committed suicide in this campground years and years ago. I asked around, I couldn't find anything about that. But there you go. Okay, so favorite, that was like my camp spot I always went to. After that, I always looked for him. I never saw him again. But there's one of my stories. Now, that being said, I have a 1995 Road Trek Popular 210. I've never had anything happen in here that suggests to me that anyone's traveling with me besides my little dog. But I just thought, what if, like, schoolies, all the kids that ever rode in those school buses, or let's say, it was a city bus. I'm curious, do you guys, any of you have ghost stories? And you know what, even if they're outside your camper, even if they're outside your van, your schoolie, your car, or whatever, let's share some ghost stories, okay? See you guys.